welcome to the Last Looks podcast, a show where we catch up with talented hairstylists and makeup artists in the film and television industry. We'll pick their super creative brains and find out all the good stuff. Join me, your host, Jamie Lee, in finding out what's what in the hair and makeup departments around the world.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Lavish your hair with the rich, natural formulas of Arlene Martin Haircare. Made with the best ingredients for the health of your hair. Packed with pure alpha, vitamin E, organic hemp, and jojoba oils. Free of all parabens and sulfates. The combination of tested, natural ingredients makes this hair care range a safe choice for all natural hair types. Healthy, confident hair is our mission. Shop ArleneMartinHair.com and join the community today.
And now, our feature presentation.
Today on the Last Looks podcast, I'm speaking with hairstylist Arlene Martin. Arlene has a creative drive and passion that will get you inspired. Coming from a salon-owning, hair show competing background, Arlene brings all that experience and talent into the film and television industry with her.
Pictures up.
Last looks. Rolling.
And action.
Welcome to the Last Looks podcast, Arlene.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, I appreciate you being here. I would like you to finish this sentence for me, okay?
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Arlene, and when she grew up, she wanted to be...
An artist.
An artist?
Yeah.
Any type of artist, or...
Just an artist in every form. I actually know how to play the violin. I paint. I do oil paintings. I do poetry. I sing and I write as well. And so every form of art for me was already like kind of ingrained into me, and doing hair was a extension of that artistic feel that I had already inside of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you come from a creative family?
Yeah, my mom, she was an artist and my dad was a singer. And
that's
so
awesome.
my mom painted a lot, and my dad, he traveled around overseas a lot doing tours for his band. So yeah.
That's very cool. Coming up in that type of environment, they must have been very supportive of any type of artistic venture you kind of set out on.
Yes, most definitely.
So how, from painting and playing violin, how do you kind of end up deciding that hair is kind of the journey for you?
You know, it was kind of like I stumbled upon it because always as a little child, I was always like interested in Barbies and, you know, doing hair on my baby dolls and things of that nature. But it never really dawned on me that I would eventually, you know, become a hair design artist. So it kind of fell into my lap in high school, where that's kind of where the bug just kind of bit me. And I always tell people that it kind of chose me. I didn't really choose it. It just chose me. And it was really like a destiny path for me. You know, how you turn around and you look at your life and kind of see how everything connected to each other. I really believe that through all of the connections and everything that had transpired in my life, it was like a destiny path for me to be in hairstyling and, you know, doing what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome. So you did high school and then straight into cosmetology school, or?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I went straight into cosmetology school after high school because while I was in high school, I was actually doing my friends' hair and they were looking like they were coming out of an actual salon. So I
Nice.
started doing hair in high school and everybody wanted me to do their hair. And so being that they were looking like they were coming out of a salon, I started charging them, you know, a salon rate or whatever. And so I knew that that was just something that I needed to do because I was already making a little bit of money while I was in high school.
So just having not done cosmetology school in the States, how does that work? Is it like full-time school, or are you working in a salon part-time, or how does it kind of work?
It was full-time school for me.
Yeah.
We basically went to school every day for about a year and a half, and got our hours and things of that nature, and learned the basics of doing hair. And then I had to, of course, we graduated, and then I had to expand on those basics, because when you're in cosmetology school, you don't learn everything that there is to know about hair. You really just are taught the basics of doing hair, like the roller sets, the perms, the relaxers, and things of that nature, and learning the chemicals of it all. But
Mm.
you really don't get into that artistic, area and levels of doing hair until you're outside of cosmetology school, and you're out there in the industry and taking the classes and learning, and things of that nature. And for me, I never stopped learning. I wanted to always learn everything that there was to know about hair. I wanted to learn how to be a barber. I wanted everything. I wanted to learn everything because I wanted to be in demand, and I didn't want anybody to tell me no for any reason when it came down to doing hair.
Nice. I love it. So, out of cosmetology school, what's your first job?
My first job was at Great Clips. My first job was at Great Clips, and I bought some little scissors from shears from
Hmm.
Walmart, and there I was cutting hair, just trying to figure everything out. I was just trying to figure everything out and find my way. And it's so funny because the owner walked in one day and she saw the scissors that I had, or the shears that I had in my hand.
Mm.
And like 10 minutes later, I was fired.
Because of your
because
scissors?
Yes, I because
Wow.
the shears that I had brought, they literally looked like some kind of construction scissors that are like a kindergartner would have in their hands. But really, in reality, those were shears. Those were just the shears that the only shears that were on the shelf that I could pick up for that day. And so that's what I got. But it was a lesson, in everything I find lessons. And eventually, Great Clips picked me back up about a year later, and I worked for Great Clips for 8 years after that. And they didn't want to see me go. They threw me a party and everything. They did not want to see me leave that company. And I had an amazing time with the Great Clips organization, and they taught me so much. So yeah, that's just a full circle moment.
That's hilarious. I also, I'm just like kind of learning. You're like with your trainer wheels being like the worst scissors ever by the sounds of it. If you can learn and do a good haircut with those, then I mean, it's it's not the tools,
Yeah,
is it? It's the hands.
I know, and it's just so funny because I was the after after I got fired from there and got rehired back in, I was their fastest cutter. I was and because all about Great Clips is all about timing, so I was their fastest cutter there, and they just absolutely adored me. Did not want me to leave at all, and that just goes to show to never give up. And when you hear no, there's always a yes around the corner,
Mm,
and sometimes when the door closes, there it opens back up for you at a later time. So yeah, those were all lessons for me.
that's amazing. So just to understand the type of salon, is it like a cutting bar? So it's just like walk
Yes.
in, haircuts
Right.
all day. Yeah, amazing.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
fantastic way to kind of yeah, learn all sorts of different haircuts, hair textures,
Mhm.
styles, everything.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And so what else have you done in your salon career?
In my salon career, on the salon side, I opened up my own salon. It was an extension of my home, and it had its own section where they would come in, and own door and everything. It was like kind of like a detached salon,
Hmm.
that was connected to my home. And so I got my clientele up very, very high. And that's how I worked for some years after. And this was even when I was at Great Clips, I still had the salon at my home. And so we did that for a long time, actually, before I retired from there and went into the movie industry.
Okay, so gone from your own business into film. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here, but I'm guessing that while you're starting off in your film career, you still had your salon open at home.
Yes, I did. I still had my salon open at home, and it was getting so hard because
Yeah.
being on the set and being in productions and things of that nature, you're on set for like hours and hours, at least 15 hours at the most a day. And so if you're there, that long, and then your clients are calling you, wanting you to do their hair on the weekend, it's kind of like
Mm,
you're basically exhausted by that time. And
yeah.
so it was a real struggle to release my clientele. It was very hard for me to tell them goodbye, and that I can't do this anymore. This is, I'm going into another area full time. So that was kind of hard, but they understood everything that was getting ready to transpire.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's good to have that kind of them both going at the same time for a while, just while you're finding your
Yeah,
footing with the film industry.
definitely.
But yeah, exhausting, I'm
Oh my
sure.
God. Yes, yes, yes.
You're like, am I going to have a day off? Is this
Right,
going to
right.
happen?
Exactly. Exactly.
And so where did you grow up and work and have your salon?
So I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio as a child, growing up to about middle school age. And then I moved to North Carolina and did my high school, my middle school and high school years there. And then when I turned 19, I moved to Atlanta. So I've been in Atlanta over 20 years now. Got married and had my kids there as well. So that's where everything really began for me. Once I, turned 19 and hit Atlanta, that's when I went to beauty school. And that's when things just began to climb, upward for me. So yeah, that's basically how it happened.
That's awesome. I mean, and pretty amazing because Atlanta has become such a hub for productions to
Yes.
be made and shot there. So that's awesome. You're right time, right place.
Yes. Right. Exactly.
So, coming up through working at the cutting bar and all of that type of stuff through your cosmetology training, was there a mentor that you had throughout that time at all?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think. I really don't think that I had like a per se mentor. All I had was my passion, to be honest with you. It was a
Mm,
drive and a passion that was like basically never ending. It was like and it's still there. It's just a drive and a passion to want more, to be greater, and to just strive higher every single day. And it's always been in me for some reason. And I think that's why I continue to excel in a lot of different areas. And it's not just even in film and TV, it's more so I'm in investing outside of film and TV and things of that nature, so that whenever I do retire from the film and TV industry, I'm still okay. I'm beyond okay, because I want to be beyond okay. A lot of people say they just want to be okay.
yeah.
I want to be beyond okay. I kind of have that like Oprah Winfrey mentality that the sky is not the limit. We can go beyond the skies. You understand? So yeah.
That's awesome. Good place to be.
Yeah.
Tell me, does it get exhausting?
Of course, yes. Oh my God, I gotta be, real with myself. I have to tell myself these things. You understand what I mean? I have to talk to myself every day, and yes, it gets exhausting because most of the time my human nature doesn't want to do some of the things that I know that I'm supposed to do.
Mm,
I have a lot of affirmations that I have on my wall each and every day. Everywhere that I go, even when when I went to Canada and stayed for 6 months and did a show there, I still had to have those affirmations with me. And so I took those affirmations and I actually put them on the wall there. So everywhere I go, I have to have that motivational influence around me so that I can stay the course, and so that I can stay clear headed to make sure that I'm accomplishing everything that I need to accomplish in this time. Because time is not our friend, and we don't have a lot of time here. And the older that I get, the more I know that. You know what I mean?
seeing your babies grow up.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing like that I can imagine. You just like see
Yes.
them grow up fast and you're
I
like,
know.
uh-oh.
That's the ticking clock right there.
And are
Yeah.
they creative, do you think?
Yes, most definitely. My son, he's following in my footsteps. He will be graduating next year with his barber's license because they offer it in high school, and I'm so grateful for that.
Oh,
So
that's
he will be,
cool.
yeah, he'll be working on set soon, so I'm excited for, everything that's going on with my kids. So yeah.
That's very cool. Now, coming up, and even with your first, short while in the television industry, has there been anyone that's given you advice that's kind of stuck with you?
Yes. Basically, I feel like with every interaction that I have with some people, I feel like there's something to learn from each one, whether good or bad. And a lot
Mm.
of times when I'm interacting with people, I sit back and I observe, number one. And what I've learned is don't go into a room full of leaders or a room full of extraordinary people talking. That's one of the things that I've learned the most is, Arlene, be quiet and listen and
Yeah.
just observe and absorb. And so
Yeah.
that's what I would say to anybody that's coming into the industry is, and I'm saying this with all respect, to be quiet, absorb and observe and listen and take in whatever it is that you see and learn from the greats of the industry and learn from the people that are more experienced in the industry and just sit back and glean, kind of like a little baby coming into the industry, because I've learned that if you start talking a lot and start talking and doing so too much, then the door is going to close on you very quickly. So when if you're in that door, if that door ever opens, you better be quiet and stay in that door. You know what I mean?
Just sneak on in.
Yeah, sneak on in, sneak on by.
Be the best sponge you can be. Just soak
Yes,
it all
yes,
up.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So, in the stage of your career that you are at the moment, what attributes do you think you have that have helped you get to this stage?
Wow. At the stage that I am right now, which is over 23 years in, I would say that the things that I have learned and the attributes that I've gained is definitely my willingness to lead, but to also learn and follow. I feel like true leaders, they also follow as well. They're not afraid to pick up a broom, or they're not afraid to do something that maybe one of the team members is supposed to do. I've learned as a leader that you also have to make sure that you remain cognizant of the fact that you were also in another position, in a lower position, before you became this leader. A lot of times I've noticed that when people become leaders, they get this kind of haughtiness about themselves, and they forget where they came from, and they're also condescending to the people that are beneath them, or the people that are, a couple levels lower than them, that is working for them. And I think that that's really sad.
Hmm.
I feel like a great leader is a leader that puts their team above themselves, and a great leader sits back behind quietly and lets their team lead. I think that, and I study great leaders as well, and I think that's why I have become a great leader. And my desire before I retire is to be one of the greatest leaders in the industry, and to go down in history as one of those legacy makers that was a enormously great leader. So that's one of the things that I really, really take seriously when I'm leading a team and when I'm a leader on a set.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the key word being team and not forgetting that that's what it is, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, most definitely.
that's awesome. So now that you're in doing more television and film stuff and you've left your salon life behind, what do you find the most enjoyable part about the line of work?
The most enjoyable part to me is meeting so many amazing people. It's about the experiences for me now, because, like I was saying before, I've been doing this for so long, and the work aspect is more of a given. You know what I mean? Of course, you're working, you're doing what you love, and things
Mm.
of that nature. So that's just a given. But the plus to it is the enormous amount of love and the people that you meet in different countries, like in different parts of the world, and the commonality that you share between each other, and the things that you have in common with each other more than not. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Those are the things that really make me happy now. It's just creating experiences and creating wonderful memories with people.
Yeah, I think with the amount of time we also spend with these people, it becomes a bit of a family each job you're on, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, most definitely. Yes.
And what would be something that you maybe find the most difficult?
Let's see. I think the most difficult, that's a very good question. The most difficult would probably be the time, because
Mm,
as I was stating before, time is not our friend. I feel like time is ticking away very fast, and for me, I think that is why I try to create a lot of memories when I'm off with my family,
hmm.
and try to create those memories when we go on vacations and things of that nature. And those are the more difficult times when you're on set for hours and hours on end a day, and you don't get to spend that time with your family. But those are sacrifices that I know that are important to make for me in order to live the life that we need to live. So as far as difficulty, I guess it's a good difficult in a way.
Yeah. Mm. I think it kind of definitely forces one to kind of evaluate the work-life balance, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Now, I would love to know if you consider yourself more of an introvert or an extrovert.
Well, if you ask my husband, he would tell you I was an extrovert. He's like, you are just too flamboyant, blah 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 blah. But if you ask me, I feel like I'm an introvert unless I know you. And then I'll
Yeah.
come out of my shell and be an extrovert if I know you. So that's the way I think about things. Cause like I was saying, going back to the sponge and,
Yeah.
going back to the observer, I'm a keen observer. I observe so much, and if I'm in a room full of people, I go into my introvert self, and I'm very introverted when I'm in a room full of a lot of people. But if I know you and I know the room full of people, I turn into an extrovert. So it's kind of, both ways.
Yeah, I think that I feel a little bit the same actually, because with the closest and dearest to me, I'd probably my husband would probably say the same.
Yeah.
But then at work or around people I don't know, I definitely climb into my little shell and
Yeah.
kind of
Most
just
definitely.
watch what's
Yep.
going on. Do you
Hmm.
think that's helpful in our industry, or do you find that that can be a struggle sometimes?
I think that it's helpful in our industry in a way because you're learning something at the same time that you're being quiet.
Mm,
But I think that you have to balance that out because you got to learn when to speak up as well and
yeah.
introduce yourself to people. And so, yeah, I've been in the industry long enough to know when to speak and when not to speak, and when to speak up and introduce, and when to just kind of just lay low and calm down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've been able to
Yeah.
find your voice and know when to use it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
awesome. And with loving to learn and always learning, what's something exciting that you've learnt recently?
Recently, I just learned a new technique as far as how to prep the hair for a wig.
Oh, nice.
When I was in, yeah, when I was in Canada, I learned the German way to prep the hair for a wig, which was very interesting. And then recently, again, within the past week or two, I learned another way to prep the wig. And it's so many ways to prep the hair for wigs that I have in my arsenal. But there's always room, to learn new ways and learning how to prep the head for a wig. So yeah, that was one of the most recent things that I've learned.
That's awesome. I think it is beneficial, as you say, to have many in your arsenal because they just wigs, they need different
Yeah.
techniques for different looks, for different styles, for different
Yes.
types of
So
wigs.
true.
So different hair that you're dealing with underneath. So
Yes.
it's just
Yes.
good to be able to kind of assess and go, oh, I think this wrap is going to be better
Right.
in this
Yes.
situation than. So that's cool. Keep on
That's,
keep on trucking with learning all the different techniques.
yes, ma'am. Yes. Most definitely.
And what kind of project have you not worked on that you would like to?
I haven't worked on like projects like, like talk shows and like Ellen show or what other talk show? Like Good Morning America or, like TV talk shows that kind of go on and on for like years and things of that nature.
Mm.
I would love to do something like that to just try it out and see how it is. I've never done that before. I've always done like, movies and television shows, but never like a talk show.
Well, that's cool. Do you think if you liked it, that's what you'd want to kind of carry on with and stick
I
with? Because
think
I know
so.
some people kind of are in it for the long haul, aren't they? They really
Yes,
stay
yes.
with it.
Yes, and I think that I would love to do something like that because of the security, number one, and
Hmm.
because I'm on my, like I'm 43 now, so I'm giving myself till 50. So because I want to be financially free by that time and able to kind of move and maneuver how I want, freely.
Yeah.
So that would take me right on into retirement. So I would love to do something like that. That would be amazing.
Now, tell me, are there any shows like that in Atlanta?
I don't think so. The only show that I think that is
Dang.
like that is like I know. But the thing is I'm willing to travel. I don't even, I love to travel. So
Yeah.
like if something was in LA that came up, I would just get a place there, you know what I mean? But as far as here in Atlanta, I think there's a sports like it's a sports, the show where they do the ESPN stuff down there
Hmm.
in Atlanta. So, but yeah, that would be an ideal thing for me because I know it's going to last. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different types of productions out there that shoot so differently, and that is one of them. Then there's like the
Yes.
daytime television, kind of like the ongoing soap operas. I hear that they shoot differently as well. And then you've got like your sitcoms. And I think the hair and makeup people only, I could be wrong, guys. I apologize. They work like 3 days a week. So
Wow. That's amazing.
it's kind of, not all of them, I don't think, but I think that's the
Yeah.
general gist of it. They kind of prep one day and then shoot for two. Could be wrong.
That's amazing.
Um, so yeah, there's all these different types of gigs going on with
Yeah.
different hours, I'm sure. um,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, it's so interesting to talk to somebody who would love to work on something that's long running
Mhm.
because I am the complete opposite.
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
you tell me that something's like 2 or 3 months, and I'm like, amazing. If it gets to like
Yeah.
6 or 7 months, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I can't be on something that
Yeah.
long. No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
I've heard. Yeah, I know a lot of my friends think the same way. That does hair on set. They're like, that's too long.
I know, it's
Yeah.
so funny. I think because I've done the work life balance thing where like I'll work, when I'm working, that is
Hmm.
it. Like
Yeah.
I'm head down, butt up, just in it.
Yeah. Right.
And then I normally take 1 to 3 months off in between jobs.
That's
So I
amazing.
have like big chunks of time
Ooh,
off in
that's
between.
so amazing. Sounds so good.
It's hard though, because it's, jobs still continue to kind of come in and go, hi,
Yeah.
do you want to do
Yeah.
this? And I'm like, go away. No, I'm
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to,
You do
I'm trying to
have
have a
that.
life.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's very true. What do you do hair or makeup? What do you do?
I'm a hairstylist.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
you know what, Jamie? If you need me, honey, I will fly wherever, honey, wherever you need. I will fly right to you.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
It's awesome. Now, I would like to know from you, what is one of your all-time favorite looks I guess, styles that you have created?
Well, just recently on P Valley, which was the show that I headed for
Mm.
9 months.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus.
yeah, yeah, that was 9 months. Yeah, we did
Congratulations.
that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a lot. But yeah, we did that, and I did a wig for Uncle Clifford, which was an ancestor wig, because it was inspired to me by my ancestors.
Mm.
And that was one of the most profound wigs that I think I've ever made because of the spiritual aspect that was behind how I made the wig. And so you guys are going to see it as it unfolds on P Valley, but the magnificent spiritual aspect behind it, coming from Africa, speaking of the ancestors coming from Africa, crossing those waters, a lot of people died as they were coming to the Americas. Um, I called it the Trail of Blood because it's a long wig. It drapes down to the floor and it flows out. And so there's so much meaning inside of this wig. And I really, really am so thankful that I was able to create that wig.
Wow. So explain it to me a little bit more. The
It's
the
it's
actual style itself.
Yeah, it's basically a ponytail wig. It has cornrows in the front and it goes up into a ponytail, but the ponytail drapes all the way down to the floor and then extends out like I can't even tell you how many feet it is, but it's a long ponytail to where people had to carry it. Like I had four people carrying this ponytail behind them.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's
And
amazing.
yes. And so the inspiration behind that came from my ancestors, and I was just thinking about the ancestors coming from Africa, traveling that far to all the way to America, and losing children in the waters, and some people jumping overboard and things of that nature. And so it really has a strong ancestral aspect to it. Literally, the people that saw it had chills. Some people would come in the trailer and cry looking at this wig and knowing the spiritual aspect behind it. And as soon as I told them, they would get chills. They would run out crying. Um, just it was an amazing time to make that wig. And I'm so thankful that I was able to make it because it had such a strong meaning behind it. It really did. And it really does still to this day. Yeah.
And was that something that you shared with the actor wearing it? Like when you were
Yes, I
coming up with
did.
your design?
Yes, I shared it with our creator and our showrunner Katori Hall, and I also
Mm.
shared it with Uncle the character Uncle Clifford, and it was just an amazing thing. Katori came up to me and she said, you get it." She said, "You really get it," and so I was so thankful that she was receptive to my creativeness and where I got the creativity from, the inspiration from. And I was just grateful that they actually connected to me to connected with my vision as far as that. And of course it was Katori's vision, initially to do a ponytail wig, but I kind of took it over the top basically.
Yeah, you expanded on it.
Yes.
That's awesome. It's so, I think, so rare sometimes to be able to kind of go, full force like that with an
Oh my God.
idea. So
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Yes, I'm so thankful that Katori trusted me to be able to create limitless stuff. You know what I mean? There was no limit on what we could do. She would give us the idea and what she wanted, and we would just expand, and there was no limit to the expansions. So I'm thankful for that.
That's very cool. And something that's so long for a start, did it have quite a bit of weight to it as well?
It was
Yeah.
very heavy. Yes, it was yes, it was heavy. We had to carry it around in a mesh basket because basically it was that long to where like some of my team would not be with me at the time, so we had to put it in a mesh basket. And so Uncle Clifford would have to like actually carry the basket with him
Wow.
everywhere he went. So yeah, it was that, yeah, it was that good.
How did you make it so it was like reasonably comfortable for the actor to
Um,
wear?
Yeah, so the wig itself that was on his head was not weighty. it was kind of like the tail of the
Mm.
wig that was mostly carrying the weight, but
So
at
if
the
that was
same,
up in the basket or being carried,
yeah, if
then
it was
that
in the
kind of
basket
took the
it was
pressure
fine.
off.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Yes.
And so when you're creating looks like this, what are some of your favorite sources of research and inspiration?
So my favorite sources of inspiration whenever I'm creating like really avant-garde wigs is I would go back in time and look at some of the styles from the hair shows. A lot of the hair shows back in the day were just absolutely amazing. I haven't been to a hair show in a minute, but back in the years when I used to go to the hair shows, oh my goodness. And I'm
Mm,
talking about the black hair shows where you go and you would see just flamboyant wigs, avant-garde wigs, so tall and just over the top, and just amazing art pieces on these people's heads. And it was just really inspiring for me as I would see these wigs, even as a younger version of myself. And I just knew, I was like, yeah, that was my area. And I'm from the avant-garde world where I started out
mm.
in avant-garde. So being able to create avant-garde styles and things of that nature is like second nature to me. That's like the number one thing. That's what gets my blood going. You know what I mean? It's the avant-garde. So I
That's
love
very
it. I
cool.
absolutely love it. Yeah.
With the hair shows, do they have like an archive of all the styles documented somewhere that you can look at?
Yeah,
Or
you can go into Google, you can click Detroit, you can click Detroit black hair, and you can go back in time and probably put a year in, you know what I mean? And those
mm,
things will pop up. You can go back to the black hair shows. You can type in black hair shows in the early 90s, and it'll pop up with amazing hairstyles. Um, so yeah, you can really do some research about the old days of the Detroit hairstyles, because Detroit alone was like the first, like, I wouldn't say the first, but one of the most important cities that produce so much black cultural hairstyles. And a lot of these hairstyles that are in P Valley are giving a nod to Detroit as well.
that's cool. I love it. Hey, now if I had you set up in your trailer and you had your station all set up, and I took away one tool or product, what would you never want to be without?
I never want to be without my aerogel. That was my saving grace. And
You're
I
like,
know
I
you're
know the
laughing.
answer to this.
I know you're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I never want to be without my aerogel ever in life. Like that is like if somebody took that away, that would not be well with them.
Now, for those who have never used aerogel, do you want to explain what it is?
Okay, it's an hairspray that just it's the most strongest hairspray on the market. It's the strongest hairspray on the market. It will glue your finger together if your fingers together if you sprayed it hard enough. But yeah, that was one of the most important pieces of product that we had on that set, and it was amazing because it kept a lot of our actors' hair intact for long periods of time, to the point
Yeah.
where if they give last looks, we just went up there and looked and then sat back down, just to make sure it was
Built to last.
yes, yes, yes.
That's awesome. What about a tool? Is there something you
um
always use?
yes, I would say, let's see, I would say my curling iron, like a good curling iron, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those are always like keepers, those are very good staples in everybody's kit, is a good curling iron.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely. That's awesome. And what one person would you like to hear on the podcast?
Wow, that's a great question. I would love to hear from someone from Bridgerton. I would love to hear from the hairstylist who did Bridgerton, either the head of hair or somebody that was involved in all of those wigs on Bridgerton, because that really inspired me so much, just seeing all of those wigs. And I was just like, man, I want to be on that show. I want to work that, I want to be on the team or something, because it's just, it reminded me so much of myself, and, the wigs and the building of the wigs. It was just amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that I spoke to the hair and makeup designer from the first season.
Mm-hmm.
He has passed away, unfortunately. So,
Are
but
you
luckily
serious?
we have that interview forever to listen to. So it's very inspiring and amazing. And then, of course, the second season is a different hair and makeup designer.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Wow.
Yeah, but you should go back and listen to it because it's really
I
interesting.
will. I
Yeah,
will.
yeah.
I will definitely do that.
I remember when that first season came out and just looking on social media and Instagram and looking at the building of those wigs is, yeah, very
Oh,
inspiring. It's very cool.
yes. Magnificent.
It's such a
There's
fun
no
show to
words.
watch.
Yeah, there really is no words to describe those wigs, especially for the queen. There's no words to really describe what they did on that show, and just yeah, it leaves
Yeah.
you speechless. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Mark brought together a pretty fantastic team for that
Yes.
show. It's very
Yeah.
cool. And it's so much fun to watch. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, I
Drama.
got addicted. I got so addicted that first season. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I remember it kept, how you will go onto Netflix and the kind of little teasers kind of play, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kept playing, and I was like, oh my God, what is this stupid show? I don't want to watch it. It looks dumb. What is it? What is it? And started kind of getting annoyed with it. And then I was just like, oh, I'm just going to watch it for 5 minutes and see what it's all about, because they're really shoving it down my throat.
Right.
And I remember my husband was working in the office and he could hear the TV, and it was, like 40 minutes into it. And he's like, I thought you were just going to watch it for 5 minutes. And I was
It's
just
that
like,
addictive. It really
I was
catches
just
you.
like, this is good. It's like everything
Yes.
looks beautiful. There's just
Yes.
like, I want to know what's going to happen next.
Yes. Yes. Amazing. The whole production is absolutely amazingly done. Yeah.
That's very cool. Arlene, I've enjoyed talking to you so much today. You're very
Oh,
inspiring. I love your
thank you.
journey that you're on. You just seem like such a positive ray of light. I love
Thank you so much.
it.
And I enjoyed talking to you as well. I'm so glad that I met you, even if it was over the phone. I'm so glad I met you. So thank
That's
you so
awesome.
much for having me.
Of course. Thank you.
Calling all hairstylists and makeup artists. Would you like to have a strong wig knowledge? A solid foundation to build your wig styling skills on? Would you like to gain the respect of your cast colleagues and employers when it comes to wig work? And feel more confident in knowing how to handle, style, and apply wigs? Well, do we have a treat for you? Introducing Last Looks Workshops. Come down to Beverly Hills and join Jamie Lee and Rob Pickens in the Last Looks Workshops experience. Spaces are limited, so be sure not to dilly-dally. For more details, visit lastlooksworkshops.com.
For links to see more about our guests, go to our Instagram at The Last Looks Podcast or our website, thelastlookspodcast.com. If you want to keep up with new episodes being released, be sure to subscribe through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, or any podcast streaming platform. And remember, if you're enjoying the show, share it. The Last Looks podcast would like to thank Brett Stanley and Sabrina Castro. The song Fun Time by DJ Quads. Thanks for listening. Until next time.
That's a wrap, people.